Te reo roreka tērā o Cyan, me tana waiata whakarehu e runga I te reo o Tainui e rere atu nei kia koutou katoa I tēnei ata. It's a Tuesday morning and it's the Tuesday after the first drop of mail out for our voting papers. I got home last night excited, ready to take a photo, Kirst, because I was going to, share it and encourage people to get out there and vote. And my papers haven't arrived yet. So, yes, they haven't come to my side of town just yet. So, we're talking to Kirsty Barber because you're like the resident guru lady about council stuff. I mean, it's all just in your brain. You don't even need to look it up. Most of us have to go and Google stuff. So, we want to talk about the need for people to vote. Kia o whakaro o tērā kaupapa, Kirst.
Atamari te whānau, where do we start? And yeah, as I just explained to Sharon, I had to be sedated for an MRI yesterday, so I'm still a wee bit off the wall, aroha mai in advance. Hey, look, it's so important. Please, those orange envelopes, don't leave them on the fridge or chuck them. Especially this year, we have so many great Māori candidates standing, and that's in general wards and general seats, mayoralties, not just Māori wards. And that's, of course, really important because sadly, things don't keep up with each other. And even now that we have Māori wards, which is great, if you're not on the Māori roll, you won't be able to vote for a Māori candidate in a Māori ward. So it's an absolute gift, whānau, because what it means is we can have Māori everywhere, which we should. So the terrible, Sharon refers to me as a nerd, but so in Waikato district where we are, Whatawhata and all around that, surrounding Hamilton City, 34% of people voted. And no disrespect, but to put it in a nutshell, old white dinosaurs vote for old white dinosaurs. So we have got too many important complex decisions coming to leave it to those. So we know that for Māori in particular, rangatahi Māori, why would you get out and vote because there's nobody looks like you to vote for? This year it's different. We have generational change upon us. And whether you're living in the city or whether you're living in the surrounds like Waikato district or even Waipa or Waitomo or Rahanga, honestly, you have some great candidates out there. And local democracy actually does matter. Huge decisions get made locally and not centrally. And a huge part of the change that's coming is that relationship between central government and communities. So, there are some things you need to know. I'm not saying, unfortunately, we are pushing for this, but unfortunately, there still seem to be too many barriers to democracy rather than pathways. But it's actually not complicated, whānau, seriously. You can vote. It is not too late, even if you're not enrolled. So I've rambled, Sharon. Do you want to ask me questions or do you want me to just keep on rambling?
Well, I was going to. You did segue. I know you can ramble. You did segue into the special voting. So,
yeah, cool.
What's that? I mean, because I think a lot of I'm not going to generalize, but some people may have moved address.
Yeah, exactly.
And they may have not had a permanent address at the time,
exactly.
So they can make special votes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we did a push, of course, to try and get people to enroll before August the 12th. And the only difference is that, of course, by August the 12th, they can then put you on the printed roll, which means you get the stuff in the mail, which means you can vote by mail. But it's still not a problem. It just means that you have to do a special vote, which does add another layer. But the first thing to do for everybody is get enrolled. So like Sharon, you mentioned, you might have changed address. You might be 17 and turn 18 before October, so you've never been enrolled. You may just want to get enrolled for the first time. The advantage for you first-time ones is that if you want to be on the Māori roll, of course you can. The problem is that people can't switch yet. So, it's not a problem. Just so vote.nz. They're on Facebook. So you just go Facebook, vote.nz. Every council has a link in. So that's not a problem to enroll. The other thing is that if you don't have ID, so I know some of our kui talked at the maraehui there a couple of weeks ago. They said they don't have ID, so they can't enroll online. It's not a problem. You can still do a paper enrolment. So the Electoral Commission, feel free to get hold of us if you want to know. But if you can get online or if you're not comfortable in the digital world, get a moko or someone to help you. Electoral Commission, your local councils, they, it's just one click away to finding how you get the actual papers. And if you have the papers, you don't have to produce ID or birth certificates. Because I know some of our Queen never had a birth certificate, and why should they pay X amount of dollars to try and track one down?
Yeah, that's
so
good to know.
that's still not a problem. It's just getting enrolled, and once you're enrolled, everything becomes possible. Special voting. Sorry,
I had a situation yesterday with a friend who said they've got their old address. So can they just go into a council or make contact with the council? So how would what do they do? Do they call them, or do they go into the council office? Or
again, you can actually do it online. You can change your address online. So if you're digi savvy, that's probably the easiest way. Vote.nz. I mean, it doesn't come easier than that. And of course, that's one of the most typical reasons for people not getting their voting papers in the mail, especially for our rangatahi. So it's your choice how, where, what address. Like, you can use your family address if you want. But changing address is the biggest reason for people needing to enroll. And those who've never thought it was worth enrolling because it was never worth voting. So, when you've only got 30% of people turning out, unfortunately, they vote for people who look like them. So come on, you 62%. Most of you who are Māori or rangatahi Māori,
we want to lift
it enrolled.
35%. That's our goal this year, Kirsty. We're going to lift it up to let's hit the high 90%. Nah.
90 exactly. No, none of this 35, man. We're going to get everybody. The future is Māori, and that's the thing. We've not only have we got Māori seats, etc., but the youthful population is Māori. So 18 to 25s, man, you own this. So let's own the spaces that make the decisions that are going to affect generations to come. So special voting just means you still have time. If you get a special vote form, that's all right. You can still post it in. But of course, because voting's opened now, you're probably better to drop it in. And unfortunately, some councils, every council's different. Hamilton City Council have ballot boxes already all around the city, so that's easy. Of course, as you and I have talked about before, my Pākeke demographic, man, I mean, even my kid wouldn't know where a post box is. So, for example, here in Whatawhata, our local gas station. Yeah, I know, exactly. Who does? And so council offices, hopefully WDC still hasn't got up where its ballot boxes are going to be. But, for example, to Kōwhai, the dairy is a postal centre. You can drop them in there, Whatawhata. But we would like to have that publicised easily on the Waikato district page, and it's not. Hamilton City Council does have a list of where all its ballot boxes are. You can just click, manoeuvre through that quite easily. Your local council office, just drop them in there. And if you haven't enrolled, you can enroll and do a special vote, boom, boom, right there. So cool. I know that can be tricky for people, especially our elderly. So get your muckle to drive you in, man, because it's too important. And man, do we have some great Māori candidates in the city and also surrounding. So it's worth doing that.
That is another nice segue, Kirst. Because I actually have been Googling and not finding it that easy to get information about the current candidates. So share. How do people find information online?
We were talking before about how I'm the digi dinosaur. There are things I know and I do well, but I'm not. Hey, Jess. But the thing is that the great thing about our younger candidates is, of course, they use social media. So, Googling them won't get them anywhere. But, man, they're running some good campaigns. Jess, we've got there, but she's Ham East. But in where you are is Ham West. And so, you've got Dan Steer, and in fact, someone who we want to whāngai into Te Ao Māori, who's running an amazing campaign, is a young man called Jose Gonzalez. So he's great. Emma Pike's running, and of course, then in our Māori
he might be Ngāti Porou if he's related to the Gonzalez and the Manuel family.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I hadn't heard about Gonzalez. I know about the Manuels. Yeah, I used to play basketball with Annie Gear, who's, of course, Jose and Ricio's and mother. So they have Māori wards, of course. We have Moko Tawariki, we have Te Poro Thompson, we have Malena Huaki, so there are some, you've got, there are people around now to vote. Out here, we have James Fetu standing in our ward, Newcastle Ngarawahia, we have Kurikuri standing for mayor, Tilly Turner is standing in, so we've been spoiled, which is sad, actually, in a way. It's not as strategic as we would have liked, but this is the first time, and I don't think people kind of got up to speed. We have 3 great candidates candidates standing in our Tauranga Takiwa Māori ward. There's 2 great candidates standing up there in Tairaro Takiwa Māori ward in Waikato district. And the thing is, we don't actually want Māori competing against each other, but they've all been great when they've stood up and spoken. So that's Tilly Turner and Shanae Kokap Hughes as well from Taupiri. So, you know, it is worth it, whānau. If we want change, we've all got to support change.
Well, thank you very much, Resident Guru Lady.
Aroha, one more thing.
If
you're a bit worried, if you're worried about enrolling and having your address published, that's another thing, because many people, for lots of reasons, actually don't want those kind of details public, and especially for our wahine Māori, or wahine generally, actually, sometimes they don't want everybody to know where they live, sadly. So the thing is, you can go on what's called the unpublished roll. So all you need to do, so if you're worried that you don't want to enroll because you don't want your details all out there, you don't have to have them out there. When you go into enroll, you probably physically have to go on, or you might not. Go and check vote.nz. But you are able to go on the unpublished roll and do a special vote, and nobody will ever know your personal details.
I learned something new today, Kirsty. Thank you very much. The unpublished roll. Who knew that existed? Great. Thank you for joining us, Kirsty. We will catch up with you again at some time. Go forth and have a great day.
Thank you. Well, you're part of my great day. Hey, but don't forget, just check out your local council, and hopefully that information will be up there about everything you need to know from this point on. Don't leave those orange envelopes on the fridge.
Don't leave your orange envelope on the fridge. Thanks, Kirsty, for joining us this morning. So